here come the Seagulls. Jeff Tooby leads them out. Matthew Ridge at fullback, Craig Hancock on the right wing, Danny Moore and Terry Hill in the centres. Chris Ryan taking Jack Elsgood's place on the left wing. Cliff Lyons 5'8", Jeff Tooby the halfback, Owen Cunningham at lock forward, Matt Dunford in the second row for the injured Ian Roberts alongside Stephen Menzies, Mark Carroll, David O'Donnell and David Gillespie the front rowers, and what a strong forward pack it is. Plenty of offloaders there, even without Ian Roberts. Here come the Cronulla Sharks. Dave Watson at fullback, Eon Crossan on the wing, Eddinghausen and Jeff Bell in the centres, Richard Barnett is the other winger, Mitch Healy and Paul Green, the half 5'8" combination, Dave Borton at lock forward, Nathan Long in the second row alongside Dan Staines, the skipper, Les Davidson, Andrew Neve and Danny Lee completing the lineup. Referee for the match is Stephen Clark, and Mitch Healy gets play underway. And Jacko, you mentioned the fact that you don't consider Cronulla have any semi-final hopes really, and mathematically I suppose only is the way they have to look at it and keep winning.
Yeah, well, Johnny Lang actually said that, Warren, I think after they were beaten by Canterbury down at Caltex Field a couple of weeks ago. He said that's the end of our chances. But they've got a game on their hands this afternoon, Manly. There's plenty of good players in this Cronulla side. Watson, Eddinghausen, Healy and Green can do anything on the football field, so they'll have to be on their mettle today, the Seagulls.
Gillespie wrapped up, 25 out from his own goal line. It goes out to Tuvey. They're working it wide here. Lyons has got an overlap. Menzies is there, and he had Terry Hill, or Danny Moore it was, outside him on his left. Couldn't get it to him. And the Cronulla Sharks were short on that left-hand side. Kick down to Watson, well taken. The for and against record for both teams shows why Cronulla, I suppose, are in 7th position compared to Manly. Cronulla with 359 points against them. In fact, they've had 5 more points scored against them than they have scored themselves. Contrast that with Manly, so much better in attack than concession of points. 511 points Manly have scored this season, a fine attacking record. 82 tries Manly have put on, and Cronulla have managed 60. So the Sharks know their defence must be 100% today. They're 10 metres inside the Manly half. Neve to Green, Healy, Eddinghausen chasing this short kick through, but Ridge perfectly positioned. That's well done by the fullback.
Yeah, Matthew Ridge does play a short game at fullback, likes to stand about 10 metres behind the line. A lot of fullbacks like to get further back than that, and that is to counter-attack the little chip kick. Jeff Tuvey, of course, plays in the line. A lot of halfbacks play behind the line, but Jeff Tuvey's such a good defender. Bob Fulton likes him in there taking on those big forwards.
And interesting tactics by the Sharks early on to try and break up the Manly defensive rhythm by trying the short chip. Eddinghausen was going to be there if it had been allowed to bounce. Gillespie slips it away to Dunford. Good hit, though. Knocking him backwards there. It was Borton.
Only a small guy, Dave Borton, but plenty of ticker, plenty of heart. Gets in there with, likes to mix it with the big guys. He'd only be about 75, 80 kilos ringing wet, I reckon.
Here's Crossan, wrapped up by Moore and Lyons. Watson goes to dummy half.
And Warren, a good enthusiastic start by Cronulla. That was a good kick chase then out of dummy half by Bell, out of marker area by Bell. Really put the pressure on the Manly kickers. Lyons put an ineffective kick in, straight to the winger.
Borton working wide, 10 short of halfway. And now it's Davidson. Well, Jacko, we heard Johnny Peard's opinion of how you try and stop Cliff Lyons. How would you go about stopping Cliff Lyons?
Well, pretty much as Peardy described it. What you've got to do with Cliff Lyons is you've got to keep your defensive line intact. That means you can't have guys coming out of the line and opening up holes, because if you leave a hole in the defensive line, Cliff Lyons will find a runner in that hole.
Those holes virtually tell Cliff Lyons where to go rather than making him create it. Here's Ridge stopping it neatly, and he heads off across field, but he's well chased. Some determined chasing from Jeff Bell firstly, and then some tough stuff from Dan Staines and Les Davidson.
Warren, a lot of credit's often given to the ball player when someone runs into a hole, but there's a bloke that can run into a hole, Menzies, but I think a pat on the back to the players that put themselves in a position to run into daylight. All you've got to do if you're a ball player is hit them with it.
Yeah, good point, John. And it's breeds from it's a case of confidence being bred, isn't it, too? When they know Lyons is going to give them the ball, they'll run into the holes. Here's Hill working out wide and nearly finding a bit of space. Quickly on through Hancock, back inside to Cunningham. 10 metres inside the Cronulla half. Now Dunford, And he gets a good ball back to O'Donnell. Onto Lyons. That's good football. Lyons with the dummy. Now he puts Menzies away. Menzies streaking downfield. Moore on the angle. Great tackle. Knocked him over 10 metres out, though. It was Green in defence. Now it's Lyons. Pops it back inside to O'Donnell. He spins in the tackle. Gets it down. Referee Clark checks and awards the try. Fine spin from David O'Donnell to finish it off. But what superb lead-up work from the Manly players. Some excellent offloading. And all of a sudden it was Lyons and Menzies ready to seize on the chance. And then finished off here. Lyons back inside. And O'Donnell still had a lot of work to do here with Eddinghausen trying to wrap him up. Also Watson. They tried to drive him back into the field of play, but on the way he got it down.
Yeah, fantastic ball. Cliffy Lyons, a big hole in behind the play the ball area, and Cliffy spotted it pretty well. Got a good ball away to David O'Donnell, who's in a contract wrangle at the moment with Manly Warringah and Eastern Suburbs. There's the try. Now, this is the one that really set up. Matty Dunford's flop back here. He gets a good ball away. O'Donnell, quick hands. O'Donnell, quick hands. Now, Cliffy picks the right option. Dummies his first time. I thought Menzies would go all the way on that occasion. Inside, probably a little bit too early. Perhaps should have hung on to that ball. Easy to save from up here. And there's the play the ball. And as you see, look at that huge gap in behind the play the ball area. And Cliffy, as per usual, spots it. And David O'Donnell goes in. I keep calling him Desi O'Donnell because that's his nickname, so I've got to get out of that habit. David O'Donnell's his name.
Well, as you say, David O'Donnell in a contract wrangle for next year between Manly and East. In fact, early in the season, he lost his first grade position when he went on his honeymoon, but then he won it back from Scott Fulton. Matthew Ridge has kicked 80% of his shots at goal this season, 89 from 111, and there's one more. Well, that'll creep it just over the 80% mark. What a fine record with the boot he has. It's 6-0 in favour of the Sea Eagles after just 5 minutes.
Yeah, this is almost the norm. Look at Dunford. Now have a look at the Cronulla defensive line. They've stopped. He's popped the ball back. They've got to activate themselves again. Look, they've got 5 men coming at 3. Dummy by Lyons, puts the Menzies in the hole. He's playing very wide down the left side of the field today. But Lyons again got in the movement, but that seems to be the norm, that pop-back ball, defences stop, and you hit them with that second phase play.
Well, they've got some tremendous players to do it, Johnny, because Dave Gillespie, that's one of his favourite boys. There we see Dunford flopping another one back to Tuvey.
Yeah, and look what happens with the back line. They've got to adjust themselves again. Invariably something happens. Here's Hill making a good run and looking for support.
Oh, and he gets it to Hancock. Hancock flying down the line. Menzies is inside, calling for it. There's more support there as well for Menzies. It's Danny Moore. Crossing, giving chase. Moore's trying to take him on. Back to Hancock. Great backing up from Craig Hancock. Oh, the crowd are on their feet for that one. Craig Hancock, who made the break down the right-hand touchline, scores it in the left-hand corner. Tremendous backing up. Craig Hancock has done well, but what about the rest of them? There was Menzies backing up down the centre. They came from everywhere. All started really in the left-hand corner down their own end and scored in the left-hand corner at the Cronulla end. But here it was. Look at this. This is rugged running from Terry Hill. He batted them away. Then gets a beautiful pass back inside to Hancock. Menzies was screaming for the ball in centre field. A lovely pass from Hancock. And then Danny Moore. I thought Moore could have scored this. He should have kept going, but Crossan got hold of him. And there was Hancock to receive the extra pass. In fact, he cut Chris Ryan out of scoring.
There's the flop back. We mentioned it earlier. There's the flop back by Dunford. He's been responsible, well, partly responsible for both these tries. Have a look at big Terry Hill. What upper body strength. Richard Barney says, get away from me, Richard. Inside ball to Hancock. He runs away. He does well, Hancock. He knows he can't beat the defence, so he slows down, steadies himself, and gets a great ball to Menzies, who's done well to back up. As you said, I thought Danny Moore might go all the way, but once again, he steadied himself and got a great one-hander back to Hancock, who started to try and finishes it with a great try to the Sea Eagles. That'll get the crowds back.
That's an extraordinary piece of football and a brilliant piece of football. Ridge kicked his first shot at goal. This is only a couple of metres in from touch, much more difficult. And he's allowed perfectly for the wind. Oh, it didn't have the legs. The accuracy, which was the difficult part, was right on target. Manly, 2 tries in the first 8 minutes and they lead 10-0. 2 tries in 2 minutes.
And they're prepared to take chances too. That flop back pass was inches off the ground by Dunford, but Terry Hill shows how strong he is on that right-hand side of the field to put Hancock away. But Cronulla having problems with lockups. Even now, when Moore gets the ball off Menzies, you'll see that they don't lock him up, even though there's 2 players in the tackle. There, he still flicked the ball out. They think a lockup is somewhere where you go when you're charged by the police.
Here's Menzies in the way. There's only the fullback in front of him. He's looking for support. Here comes Chris Ryan. The fullback Watson at 6s and 7s. Ryan racing for the line. Ryan's over. Chris Ryan after an avalanche of points for Manly. 3 tries now in the first 9 minutes of the match. If Cronulla had to start well, they're shot to pieces. It's Manly 14, Cronulla 0. And what football from Stephen Menzies. For a second rower, he's got outstanding pace. From inside their own 20, they've done it again as it comes wide, and Menzies just away there from the grasping tackle. Was that Enninghausen missed him, I think?
That was right, Warren.
And downfield, Watson was playing for time. He did a good job here, Dave Watson, to try and create a defensive block for them. But in the end, Ryan there to support.
Yes, Matty Dunford once again involved. He threw that ball to Menzies. E.T., uncharacteristic mistake, missed tackle from him. Now look at this bloke go. If he's not the lay-down Mazaire for the Rothlands medal, I don't know his. Without doubt, in my opinion, the player of the season, Steve Menzies. And there's Ryan over for a try. He's back in first grade and picks up a 4-pointer.
Now Ridge won't miss this one, you wouldn't think. Fairly close to the posts. That's 2 from 3 for Ridge. And the one that missed only just fell short. It's already 16 points to 0 to Manly.
It's 3-on-3 down the short side here. Just a clean miss by E.T., and he doesn't miss too many tackles. He's a classic defender. But Menzies sums things up pretty well. Look at Watson. With all his experience, he tried to hold off as if some help was coming, but it was too late, and Ryan scores.
There's a penalty by Stephen Clark. Cronulla up inside the 10. Wouldn't surprise me, Warren, if Manly rack up 30 points in this first half the way they're playing.
It's a horror movie for Cronulla early on. There it is, moving up too quickly. Cronulla trying to stem this flow by moving quickly to the Manly attackers.
And Jacko, I guess Manly have to start strongly because if you saw that game last week, they had a tough game. They don't have any fresh reserves for today, so I guess this is the dream way for them to get going.
Yeah, I mean, Cronulla, I know it's a brave call, but, you know, I'd probably even go as far to say that Cronulla are probably beaten already. I know there's only 14 points in it, or, yeah, sorry, 16-0, but Cronulla with nothing to play for, no rewards really if they win this game. The semi-finals are out of reach. I mean, it's very, very hard, although they'd be telling themselves to get in there subconsciously, it'd be very hard for them to come up with a big effort from here.
There's the strength of Terry Hill again, pushing them off. Now Menzies, first receiver this time, and they've got him. In the first round, Cronulla beat Manly 26-14 at home at Shark Park. It's a different story today. But that win by Cronulla did follow, of course, the Manly-Newcastle match where Manly had been battered. You would have thought it may have taken something out of them coming into this match. But they've got another penalty here right in front of the post, 20 metres out.
Yeah, big Mark Carroll spud, just not getting off the players. Danny Lee's in there. Dave Borton, I think, is in there as well. Just too long, referee Stephen Clark says that's no good. There's Johnny Raper, the great Johnny Raper.
Ridge right in front. The breeze seems to be swirling around at that end. Well, that one is between the posts. The score stretches out to 18 points to 0. If you joined us late, Manly scored tries in the 5th, 7th and 10th minutes, and that's why it's 18 points to 0.
Yeah, to give you an indication of the trend of the game, Warren, Manly have had 21 hit-ups to Cronulla's 4. So an incredible statistic. Manly all over. There's Bozo, Bobby Fulton. It's up there. Don't know about the sunglasses, Bose.
So Cronulla striving to play it down the other end of the field, but without much ball and without much success at doing it. Here's Cunningham. Earlier in the season, we saw Manly flog Western Suburbs here in a Saturday game. Was it 60 to, what was it, Jacko? I forget.
66-6, wasn't it?
66-8,
We've had this argument before,
I know.
I think.
Deja vu.
Come on, Warren. Preparation.
Petey reckons I'm right.
Will it happen today?
Just pointed
O'Donnell
to the
slips
red
it to
edge,
Dunford. Sorry, John.
Just pointed to the red edge. He's correct. 66-8, I think, against West.
Now Carroll, he's been charging it up hard. Mark Carroll telling me during the week that he's very, very hopeful of a kangaroo bird. That was his comment for the camera, and then off the camera he said, every night I think about it. And I'm sure he does. He dreams of being on another kangaroo tour, and he's playing the sort of football that's good enough to be there. Again, he has some top prop forwards in front of him that he has to get past. Here's Watson. Neve gets it back, but the referee had already called held.
Yeah, from about 35 metres in the wind.
Absolutely. We've talked about this before, Petey. What's the whistle for?
Yep.
There we see, and he's obviously called hell. Dave Watson, renowned for standing in tackles and unloading. He had 3 Manly players on him. In my opinion, his momentum wasn't stopped. He was still going backwards. The tackle hadn't been affected, and the referee calls held from 35 metres away. But gee, what do you think they've got? They got ears like satellite dishes.
Total errors by Cronulla, 9 of them now to Manly's 0. It's a cruel penalty. Our referee tackled me on John's and your suggestion the referee should use his whistle, saying we're not allowed to use our whistle, but you'd think that common sense might prevail.
Yeah, there's no common sense. Just referring to rule books, blow the whistle so easily.
Gillespie, Manly back on the attack. Up come Cronulla. Up comes Lyons. Slips it away to Dunford. Manly certainly showing no signs of missing the injured players in this game. Lyons. Dummies and carves them and pops it to Ridge. He leaves Watson standing. Lovely little jig from Matthew Ridge to finish it off. Dave Watson doesn't miss many tackles. He didn't even get a hand on Ridge then, but it was Cliff Lyons. He's a magician, Lyons. He mesmerises the opposition. You would think it would be simple to tackle him. You know, don't take the dummy, but he has so many tricks up his sleeve, and he just keeps throwing them, and you keep falling for them. Through he goes, and away goes Matthew Ridge.
Oh, what do you say about Cliffy? Here he is, throws the big dummy here. Throws the dummy inside. He tricked ya, gotcha. And he gives it away to Matthew Ridge. Shows a good slide of foot there, Matthew Ridge. Good feet, Petey. Here we see it again from the head-on angle. You watch Cliffy Lyons throw this dummy. He just sucked a couple in too easy. Sucked in Paul Green, in fact. And Matthew Ridge, good little in and away there to get a bit closer to the post and give himself an easier kick. There says
Another
Ridge
one
is God. There's plenty of gods around here.
Divine divinity.
Well, it's God's country, they say. That's why he's got all the banners up here.
Here's Ridge, just knocking them over with ease. And this is a very, very sad story for Cronulla. It's 24-0 after 19 minutes.
They tend to hold off Cliffy Lyons. Everyone seems to hold off to think what he's going to do with it. But look at this, picks the hole, and look at Ridge around Watson. Elementary, my dear Watson, he said to him.
There's Johnny Lang up there. He wouldn't be real worried. He wouldn't be real happy with what's happened so far in this game. Taking into account the fact that Manly have got a lot of injury worries, it's been a great performance so far.
And in those early games, as Gillespie almost breaks away in President's Cup, Cronulla won handsomely, 34-6, and they're well on their way to the minor premiership now.
They are the minor premiers. They can't be beaten.
And in reserve grade, there it is. Cronulla all the way over Manly, 16-0. So Cronulla now shore up a top 3 spot in reserve grade, and Manly, well, still in the 5, but struggling to get into that top group now.
Yeah.
It's interesting by Bob Fulton. You would think in this, I suppose, professional game where wins in first grade seem to be all that counts, that he was prepared to make that concession to the reserve grade today. Unless he didn't think there were any players down there he really needed. He couldn't just come off after playing a reserve grade game. Good burst from Borton there. And now Pearce keeps it going. So Cronulla fighting their way back into the contest here. Not on the scoreboard, but in the way the game is being played. Davidson, Eddinghausen, Lee. That's good football. Much better football from the Sharks. Showing confidence despite the battering they've taken so far. Staines with the kick, and the ball goes touch in goal. So the pressure is released on Manly. Staines running into the back of a lot of tacklers there as he put it through.
Yeah, Dan Staines there calling the ball on the right-hand side. As soon as he called that ball, the whole Cronulla's backline's heads went down. They wanted the ball to the left. They had a good backline set. They had a play on. Danny Staines comes up with a pretty ordinary kick. He'll be disappointed with that.
And he's about to be replaced as well. Adam Ritson in 41 will be coming on for him shortly.
Must be very disappointing for Dan Staines, the captain of this club. He's been there quite a while, and to be told that they don't want him or can't fit him under their salary cap and into their plans. And Menzies away, over halfway. Green comes at him. He's got him beaten. Down to Watson now. Inside is Ridge. High tackle from Watson. Crossan was coming in cover as well. It looked high. Ridge plays it. Now's a punch-up between the fullbacks. Hill plays on. Good refereeing. They've cleared away. Manly have the advantage here. They've got no dummy half, though. Player arrives just in time. It was Hancock getting there just to save the ball. They wasted a tackle. Last one now. Kick from Tooby. Straight to Green. And now the referee's going to talk to the fullbacks. And here come the touch judges. Flags in the air.
Oh, look at them come, the touch judges. Here comes the cavalry. Terry Hill decided to go right then from that break from Stephen Menzies. Ridge was tackled. Terry Hill went to the right.
But what about that high tackle from Watson? He may have been caught on the wrong foot, but it certainly looked high.
There's Matthew Ridge. There's the high tackle from Dave Watson, certainly round Matthew Ridge's head. And watch here, they gets up to play the ball, oh, it's on to the 2 Kiwis. Matthew Ridge cops one. I think he took a bit of a dive then. There's the penalty to Manly. And he should have gone left. The Manly had players all over the place. They had 10 on 2. And Terry Hill tried to go himself and came up with an empty slate.
All started by this tremendous break by Stephen Menzies, and
from a standing start too, Warren.
He beat Dave Borton. It was a one-on-one tackle. He's got strength, speed, elusive skills, and I mean throws a lovely pass. And you can see there, even from a better angle, the step by Ridge I think forced in part Watson to go high, but no excuse for it.
And there's Terry Hill going to the right. Bad option by Terry on that occasion. Needed to get the ball to the left-hand side.
And then they wasted one here with no dummy half.
So yeah, the entire Manly side were on the left-hand side of the field when Hill went to the right there. But Menzies just shows how strong he is around that hip area. I haven't seen a good tackle affected on him all season. So that's got to say something for him.
Yeah, he keeps his legs moving, Petey, doesn't he? And he seems to be able to kick out of tackles.
Yeah, I can remember when I was playing, it's a hell of a long time ago, but some players, you get hold of them, you think, gee, this bloke's strong. You know, you give them respect. They don't look strong, but they just bust out of your tackles all the time. That's the same with Menzies. There's another shot from Ridge.
Ridge taking the 2 points. They could have easily thought about taking a tap, but they're so comfortable on the scoreboard, they're giving Ridge the 2-pointers when they're that easy. 26-0 now. Dan Staines tries to cool down. I can imagine both his temperature and his temper at the moment. Here's Cunningham. He runs at Green. Green was swatted off by Menzies as he raced downfield a moment back. Cronulla have made 15 errors, and 14 of those are missed tackles. They've only made one handling error. They haven't had much ball to drop. And that all really came after a passage of play where Cronulla was starting to get back into the game.
You notice when Manly take the ball up, like Gillespie and Dunford and those front rowers that like to flick the ball back, the back line actually stays intact. Not many go with him, as if to expect that pop-back pass and then to hit them with the second phase.
O'Donnell gets it out to Ridge on the last, and the kick in between Crossan and Watson is a beauty from Ridge. Couldn't have been better pinpoint accuracy.
Well, he made the ball talk then, Warren, didn't he? He knows every blade of grass.
It was yapping.
Matthew Ridge. Beautiful kick. Right between dissected. Is it dissected or bisected?
Bisected.
Bisected.
Like you,
Disexual.
You're bisexual, aren't you?
Beautiful kick by Matthew Ridge.
He can't get it, he pays for it.
Oh, good on you, Petey.
That's bisexual.
Now here's Watson from the scrum win. Here comes to Davidson.
B-U-Y, Jacko?
Yeah,
Took me a while. Took me a while too.
Jacko's a bit slow on the spelling jokes, you know.
Now Adam Ritson's on the field, and he's a big fellow.
122 Ks. I was talking to him the other day, Warren.
See, what size will he be when he grows up? Here's Danny Lee to halfway.
An awesome sight for when he plays against it. He played in the Australian, the youth squad this year, the youth team.
The under-19s.
Must be an awesome sight for the Pommies who they played against. Big Adam Ritson, 122 kilograms at 18 years of age, incredible.
He wasn't expecting the ball that time. It's the last tackle now for the Sharks to Green, and he goes for distance. Is it going to be too deep? He's just not judging this field or the wind, though the wind at the moment seems to be a bit quiet, particularly at that end. Quite strange, the wind blowing seems to be affecting the flags down the southern end, but at the northern end they're limp.
Yeah, it's been doing that on and off all afternoon. That's why Petey and I were saying it's so hard to work out who's got any advantage out of this, except all we can tell you is when it gusts very seriously.
Cronulla's kicking game has let them down, hasn't it? The last tackle plays, they've got, one drop out of, I think, 3 others have gone touching goal.
Yeah, very ordinary in that department. But, I mean, geez, at 26 points nil, they've got probably more things to worry about at this stage than they're kicking on the 5th tackle.
Manly with a few collisions happening, 10 metres short of halfway. Tooby swings it to Lyons. Here's Hill on the burst, and Hill gives a lovely ball to Hancock. Green comes across. He hasn't got the pace. Here comes Watson now. Hancock takes him on, slips it to Menzies. I should say Borton's got him, but he's strong. Look at him. He stands in the tackle for an age. That's strength.
Look at the numbers on the left, Warren. Cronulla's just getting back into position now. They'll go wide through lines, and Tuvey, oh, he comes up with a drop.
Well, Eddinghausen had got up in defence and put a bit of indecision into the minds of Tuvey. It wasn't quite as easy as it looked, but they had an army of numbers waiting out there. There's Eddinghausen. He just got up to make Tuvey have to rush things a little.
That was Paul Borton going to the blood bin. David Borton, I've done it again. David Borton going to the blood bin, being replaced by Dan Staines, by the way.
Now, Pearce plays it back, and Davidson still working hard. Davidson, and he was looking for someone to be behind him to pass it to. Carroll with that tackle. Now Eddinghausen. But the Cronulla forwards aren't doing enough damage to really let the Cronulla backs get on the move. Healy with the kick. Not long till half-time now. Chris Ryan brings it back. Manly with just a couple of tackles up their sleeve. In fact, not even that. Last tackle of a resounding first half from the Sea Eagles. They scored 4 tries to 0. Ridge added 5 goals. It was a blitz in the first 10 minutes when they scored 3 tries. And at half-time, Manly totally dominant, leading 26 points to 0. The second half away with the boot of Ridge. And Debbie and John are ready with their dressing room reports.
Well, you picked it pretty close. So the word was respect, not pride, that Johnny Lang's asked the team to play for. He's also asked them to particularly address the problem of not making those one-on-one tackles and not locking up the ball. I also should tell you that Dan Staines tripped over the Manly run-through as he ran onto the field. I don't think that was part of the plan for the second half. Peardy.
Well, what do you say to a team that's in front 26-0? I guess Bob Fulton would just be trying to get the best out of his players in the second half, the capacity effort from each and every one of them. And that's the sign of a good individual, when they can perform at their maximum, even though the scoreboard is so far in their favour.
So a good kick here pushes the play right back to the corner. There, Mitch Healy right on target.
Yeah, nice solid start by the Sharkies. Mitch Healy, fine kicker of the football. Good player too, Mitch Healy. Runner-up in the Rothmans medal last year. And puts a nice little kick into the corner. So they'll have to mount some pressure. If they can get a couple of early tries, Cronulla, I suppose they're not completely out of this game, but gee, I tell you what, there'll be hundreds.
Absolutely. Tremendous first half from Mark Carroll. 15 hit-ups and 14 tackles. And David Gillespie, Matt Dunford, and Owen Cunningham all backing him up with strong performances in attack and defence.
Yeah, Owen Cunningham is the real unsung hero of this Manly team, Manly pack. He's certainly the... Well, he's not one of the big names. He's not Gillespie or Carroll or Menzies, but gee, he gets through some work, and he's a real buffer for those big name players. He does a lot of their work for them in defence. A fantastic player, Owen Cunningham, very underrated.
And we can check the top tacklers, and there they are for Manly. Carroll leading the way with 16. Gillespie and O'Donnell contributing well. For Cronulla, Danny Lee, 22 tackles. It's always the same every time we do a Cronulla match. Dan Staines, 16, Andrew Neve, 13. Watson, who made a couple of good bursts in the first half. Now Barnett, grabbed, collared by Menzies and swung to ground. Staines, and he runs into a solid tackle from Gillespie. He just stood his ground and drove in on a leg. He
had more trouble with the Manly run-through. He fell flat on his face, Warren, as he was coming onto the field, but he got up laughing.
And here's Pearce, 10 metres into the Manly half. Green, Healy, Bell, and he's away from Lyons. Lyons diving from a distance, and the hand slipped off. Watson gives it to Green now. Inside to Ritson. He gets rid of Dunford, slips it back nicely. Watson always there waiting. Eddinghausen shoveled it on to Bell. I don't know whether it was intentional. That was intentional, but it wasn't very successful from E.T.
Yeah, well, have a look at this here. Dave Watson drifting across field as he does. There's the ball to E.T. E.T. sort of, I don't know whether he flicked it on or just dropped it, but geez, I don't know what was going on there.
Looked like a new sport they'd invented.
I know the volleyball Grand Prix on at the moment. Maybe E.T. trying to get a run in the Australian team. They Mounted a fair attack then. A nice break by the centre, Bell. So Cronulla haven't thrown the towel in.
Tuvey and Lyons and now Moore. The defence read it well. Bell came back in, taking Danny Moore down. Now Menzies. Much more effective when he's out wide, isn't he?
Again, that wasn't a cut and dried tackle either, Warren. He had Ritson around his legs, but it still took him a time to get down. I think he's very strong. Tuvey's one player that's been a little bit quiet today, but Tuvey is such a big match player. Whenever the scoreboard's close or it's a tough game, you can bet that Tuvey will be one of the best players.
Yeah, apparently last week against Newcastle, he was absolutely outstanding and inspirational.
Well, he's only got to feed the ball today, hasn't he, Peter? I mean, there's so much happening outside him.
Yeah, that's their plan, isn't it? That's one of their favourite moves. Give it a Cliffy.
And here's Lyons back to Menzies.
There he goes.
He's gone straight through. It's like charging through paper. He's going to run away from Watson. No, Watson comes at him. And that's a good tackle by Watson. Gee, he's got some strength for a little man. Somehow he manages to hang on to Menzies. Now it's Ridge out to Lyons, and the crowd starts to roar in anticipation. It's Danny Moore. One more pass to Hancock to Lyons. He's lost it. Cliff Lyons couldn't pull it in from behind his head. But what about Menzies? He's just gone straight through the front line.
There's Thomas Keneally.
Australian author.
There he is. Hancock back into Cliffy, and Cliffy saw this try line. He thought he was over, didn't catch the ball first. So Stephen Menzies, gee, I tell you what, I said before, he's got to be the player of the year. Would you say that at this stage, Johnny?
Most definitely. You see, he went through that holding, but even Dave Watson, pretty experienced campaigner. It took him 3 or 4 seconds. I thought it was effective tackle to get him on the ground.
Jacko, you mentioned that you can see Menzies as being the Rothmans medalist. At the moment, haven't they got Cliff Lyons as the favourite for the Rothmans medal? So you've got 2 starters from the Manly side right up in top favouritism.
Well, Cliffy's had a great season. A great season.
There's a deep kick. And back goes Hancock. He's fast, but he can't get back to that, and he's quite happy, I suppose, in the end to see it go into touch because the chasers were going to pin him way down in that corner.
Well, there he is, that man, Mitch Healy again. Fantastic kick. 60 metres, picked up 60 metres with that rolling kick. Unfortunately, they don't need metres, they need tries, Cronulla. They need them quick.
And look at the Manly forward striding slowly but purposefully to the scrum. They've got all the time in the world and in no hurry to get there. 26 points to 0. Manly, no change in the first 6 minutes of the second half.
Be interesting to note, Debbie, is Owen Cunningham and Terry Hill. Is there anything wrong with them, or is Bob Fulton just giving him a rest?
Well, as Terry Hill came off the field walking past us, it looked as if he was nursing one of his arms, but the Manly bench told me no, there's no problem, although he did go straight to the dressing room. Cunningham looked okay.
Hill was in doubt earlier in the week with a bruised hip, and Cunningham earlier in the week had x-rays for a broken jaw. But both seemed to be okay during the first half, didn't they?
Well, perhaps Bob Fulton thinks the game's his. In fact, I think it is too, so giving him a bit of a rest.
Because the unlucky guy was Anthony Rogers, having secured a first-grade berth, had kidneys damaged last week, and looks like he might be out for the season. Here's Danny Moore. He kicks clear of a couple. Now he gets it away to Hancock. Back to Ridge now. Menzies is looming up in support. Ridge is still going. Ridge for the line. He stumbles. He's short, or is he?
Oh, they've got to swing it left. They've got 20 players on one.
Well, Menzies is on the right, but Tuvey's done it himself. There just weren't enough Cronulla players back. And Jeff Tuvey does the honours, finishing it off. And back on halfway, Paul Green is staggering around in Disneyland. But again, a Manly raid from their own side of halfway down the far right-hand touchline. Danny Moore pushed away from Green. That's where Green gets hurt. He copped a boot. And Hancock backs him up very, very nicely. Keeps it alive. Ridge breaks through the tackle here of Watson, which wasn't a good one. And Ridge looked as if he was going to score. What a chase from Danny Lee to get there. That's a great tackle, but it wasn't going to be enough. They could have scored anywhere, but Tuvey's taken the most direct route here and dives inside crossing to score.
And he deserves it. Here we go again. Here's Danny Moore. Great work by Danny Moore. Just gets rid of Paul Green. Gets a nice round the corner pass. Hancock, good ball to Matthew Ridge. I thought the play might have broken down here. Matthew Ridge couldn't get Stephen Menzies in a position. It looked like he might score himself. Just gets pulled up short. And good on you, Jeff Tooby. The little fella, the little captain, the inspiration in this Manly side comes up with a well-deserved try. Just burrows in there.
Paul Green has left the field, bleeding. Here comes Terry Hill back on for Manly. And Ridge thumps it between the posts. And Manly now have cracked 30 points. They've gone to 32-0, 9 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, positioning of the Manly support players is a feature here. Look at the way Hancock transfers himself. Suddenly leaves his winger and comes infield. Beautifully done. Then he knows Ridge is on the outside. Ridge does it well. Menzies always had his spikes on. He watched that play and he supported up the centre. They couldn't get him the ball, but in the end, Tuvey went over for it. A simple try from dummy half. And
crowd of just over 10,000 here at Brookvale today.
Does Johnny Lang have a painful look on his face? I imagine it would be pretty painful.
Stokes and Ryan now. And there it is. The total errors by Cronulla have been costly ones. 25 errors. And here's Hancock. He's out of a couple of tackles. And intercepted, though, by Scott Brown. And he's still going, Brown.
You can see Owen Cunningham's back out there for Manly. Frank Stokes interchange back to the bench.
Most of those Cronulla errors are missed tackles, but Manly are making them miss, a lot of them. Certainly some players have slipped off or misjudged tackles, but Manly have made them miss. Ball popped up from Healy for Lee. They're only a few metres out here, Cronulla. Still looking for their first point of the match. Ritson charges. Back it comes. Neve scrambles. Healy, Davidson. He sets sail for the line. Manly's defence looks organised, though. Healy, Watson. And he goes back in amongst the forwards, and Cunningham wraps him up. Last tackle coming up now for Cronulla. Can they penetrate? Neve puts it through, goes close, Ridge kicks it. Sockers it upfield. Chance again for Cronulla. I don't think Ridge had much option, though. He had to get it out of there. And he wasn't going to get to it first.
Well, knowing Manly's luck today, it wouldn't surprise me if they scored from that. Not their luck, I suppose, the way they're playing. Great ball, Adam Ritson.
And Barnett scores. So at last, Cronulla are over. Having got the extra set of 6 when Ridge kicked it, they finally managed to get through the Manly defence. It's 32 points to 4. But it was fairly scrappy play, but at least they've moved the ball where Manly were thin. Ritson charges at Hill and slips a lovely ball away. Shows that he has got these ball skills. And there's Barnett to finish it off. In the 56th minute, they've scored.
Here we see the kick. Now there's Matthew Ridge. Oh, Neve just about to dive on it, and Matthew Ridge kicked it out of his hands almost. And here we see that's the play there. Adam Ritson, he has shown enough in this game to suggest that he has a tremendous future in the game. 56 minutes it's taken for the Cronulla side to put a point on the board. That's a tremendous pass. Sucked in 3 players. Hancock probably didn't need to go in on that occasion. And Bob Fulton wouldn't be happy with a couple of mistakes Manly have made in the last couple of minutes. He'd want them to finish off strongly and disciplined. So I'd imagine that Brian Hollis, the trainer, would have got that message out to the Sea Eagles.
Not an easy one for Crossan. He's kicked 63% this season, and that's just short. So he had the same difficulty that Ridge did. Maybe they're kicking into the wind there. It's 32 points to 4. Manly leading.
yeah, just aided by a little more possession, Cronulla. They've got to restart off this from Ridge. But Ritson just showed what a good prospect he is. Arthur beats and stop. Bell takes the ball up here as a tackle. Ritson positions himself on the left of the ruck. There's 3 Manly defenders there. There's a face ball to him. Terry Hill tries to wrap him up. He just flicks it round the outside. That's good skill play. Reminiscent of the great Arthur Beetson.
Cunningham and O'Donnell strangle him and drag him to ground. Cronulla finished the season at home, 2 games at home against Newcastle and Souths. That'll only be academic now. And the ball has been lost by Long.
He's not happy about that either. There he is taking the ball up. Well, he just lost the ball. Simple as that. I mean,
he did lose
Mark
the
Carroll
ball.
had him held down, but that happens in every time you get tackled in rugby league nowadays. He just came up with Loose ball. Didn't start playing football till 1989. I was reading in the paper this morning about Nathan Long. He's a mad keen surfer, as he looks like a surfer. Here's another break coming up. Oh, no. And actually didn't take up rugby league till 1989. Forward pass there by Manly. So an incredible...
Tuvey can't believe it.
There we see Cliffy Lyons just popping a short one to Jeff Tuvey. Oh, that wasn't forward.
Flat, but it wasn't forward.
I reckon it was back.
Oh, I don't know about that, but you can understand why Manly were a little dumbfounded.
Pretty hard to tell from the angle, I suppose, of the camera.
Back it comes to Brown, and he goes out to Barnett from the far wing. Almost slipped it away to Eddinghausen. Manly have got a couple of tough games to come. The big one might be against Canberra in the last round, but before that, next week they have to meet Souths at the SFS. And, that's not an easy one either. Here's Borton. So Manly have to keep winning, but Borton's put into touch. And that's a waste of possession. Terry Hill showing his strength once more.
Here we see Dave Borton, like I said earlier, he's very, very small bloke to be playing in the forwards, and Terry Hill just monsters him over the sideline. He's a big man, Terry Hill, big and quick and got plenty of skill, and really improving as the season goes along. Quiet start to the year for Terry, but certainly in the last couple of weeks, he's really come alive, and his Kangaroo Tour chances must be getting better every time he takes the football field.
He looks so strong in the upper body, Terry Hill. He slips the pass away here to Moore. Now bad one behind Hancock. Barnett's got it. Barnett will score for Cronulla. That's sloppy play by Manly. It's one thing to throw passes inside your own 20, but they've got to be good ones, and they were rushing them then. And the pass went behind Hancock. It was Hill and Moore, and then this pass was the one that let them down. I don't know whether his hand was jolted by Jeff Bell, but it went behind Hancock. Made life very, very hard for the winger, and Barnett was there to pick up the scraps and score Cronulla's second try.
He won't be happy with this, Bob Fulton, at all. I mean, Danny Moore comes up with a very ordinary pass. In fact, the pass was never on. Even if Hancock did get the ball, he was going to be dumped by Barnett anyway. Picks it up and scores a good opportunity to try. Very disappointing from the Manly players. He was see from the head on. Here, watch Danny Moore. Why would he want to pass this ball anyway? There was nowhere for Hancock to go. Even if he did get the ball, he was going to get smashed by Barnett. So really an unnecessary pass, and it got what it deserved.
Danny Moore would rather make that mistake in this game than in a semi-final. Crossan. This is just a little bit easier than the last attempt, and this one's made it. This one had the legs. So all of a sudden the score looks a little more respectable. It's Manly 32, Cronulla 10.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt Manly have dropped a cog or two with intensity. But just look here, look at their angles they're running, like schoolboys, all running across the field. Bad angles by Manly for a start, and that compounded by a very bad pass from Danny Moore. Barnett gets his second try.
Ridge gets it underway once more. They haven't had to restart too often. Dave Watson is allowed as a knock back. I think the knockback came after the knock forward.
He's got him, he's conned him. There's nothing sure. Dave Watson's conned the referee on that occasion.
Now Ritson with the ball for Cronulla. A let off here for the Sharks, surely.
Here we go from the kickoff. Dave Watson, there he goes. Now he's knocked that on, but watch him. Oh, he flicks it back. Good on you, Dave. You got him. An old Kiwi trick, that one.
10 minutes to go. Manly leading 32-10, and Brown juggles, hangs on, gets it away. Fair enough. It was off the ground, but he wasn't held. Last tackle coming up now for the Sharks, just short of halfway. Noob goes the blind side to Healy. There's the kick. Moore knocked him over as he got it away. Gets it past Ridge. The chases are a little widespread, but they are there, and they converge on Ridge. Make the tackle. Eddinghausen and Crossan have been good in their chase this game. Just those first half kicks gave away too many opportunities on the last tackle, Cronulla, to force Manly to stay down their end of the field. Lions, Menzies. Menzies is away. Tuvey's inside. The pass was touched by Crossan, I thought, and Moore dives on it.
It was touched one, but still a knock on by Manly. Well, I don't know what the crowd are booing about.
Well, I think As Johnny would say, they boo Santa Claus. No, they boo anything that goes against Manly, but you're right, that was knocked on.
Actually, they're a strange crowd, Warren. They tend to not react a lot here when something happens.
Well, there it is. The second, first was knocked by the Cronulla hand, but then it was knocked on by Manly. Sorry, Debbie, what were you saying then? You're analysing the crowd.
Well, I just noticed last week when I was here as well, when the opposition do anything, there's just almost silence as if it hasn't happened. It's a weird feeling, and I've noticed it again today on the sideline. When Cronulla have actually scored, it's almost like no reaction at all.
It's that reaction you hear when you watch the American NFL games when they're playing on one side of the USA to the other, and the team that's away, or the home team, when the other scores, they're just very, very silent. Yeah, I'm not bagging them for it. I'm just saying it's an odd atmosphere. You keep thinking, oh, that hasn't really happened. Maybe the referee stopped the play or something. Here's Watson, 9 metres out. It goes to Brown. He swings it wide to Eddinghausen. He hasn't given up. Fell's in trouble. Got it back to Barnett. Kicks on the last. And Ridge takes it on the full. So it comes out to the 20. Again, this Manly defence has been hard to crack today for Cronulla.
Yeah, they've worked hard in defence. Watch it. There were plenty of talk out there. They were saying, watch the chip. E.T. actually dummied to kick that ball, gets one into Barnett and puts up a kick. Really nothing else you could do in that situation. Matthew Ridge safe as a bank, as per usual.
O'Donnell dashes out a dummy half.
Oh, great ball, Dave O'Donnell.
Alexander, Gillespie, Alexander, Menzies. He's so elusive, Menzies. He made Dan Staines miss there with a little swerve to the left. So quick on his feet. Lyons. The pass came backwards as Long moved in for the tackle. Didn't come off the Cronulla player, though. That one did, off Barnett's hand. Should be called back, and it is. Knocked on by Barnett, but at least he diffused a promising situation for Manly.
There you see Dave O'Donnell gets a great ball away there. Terry just trying to get that quick through his hands. Comes up with Barnett. It's a big cheer there for John Jones. Coming on for, who's he coming on for? Looks
Matty
like
Dunford.
Matty Dunford. He's had a fantastic game, Matty Dunford. Take a bow. He's really filled in well for Ian Robertson. Probably done as well, if not better than what Ian Roberts could have done today. And Johnny Jones, he's leaving the Manly club after a long stint here. He's going to the South Queensland Crushers next year, and he'll be a great buy. Tosser Turner, if you're listening, mate, you've got a good one there.
12 hit-ups, 20 tackles for Dunford as he leaves the field. Well, I wonder if the Manly crowd will applaud John Jones when he comes back to Brookvale next year. I can remember the reception Dale Shearer got when he came back to Brookvale after leaving.
I think there was a fairly different
situation, certainly, yeah. They gave a very warm reception to Jones as he took the field there. John Jones wanted to stay with Manly, but couldn't come to terms with them.
There's been a lot of correspondence to things like Rugby League Week, people, Manly supporters complaining about Jones having to go.
Here he is, John Jones up the middle. He had a superb 1993, but this season marred by a serious injury early and only just been back for a month now. Here's Tuvey, crunched by Borton. Tackle slipping up a little high, but hit him certainly low in the first impact.
That wouldn't hurt Jeff Tuvey.
Up it goes on the last from Ridge. Brown trying to protect his fullback. Good take by Watson.
That was an excellent take by Watson. And no doubt they'd be applauding right up at Port Hedland, right up the top of Western Australia, Warren, where the Port Hedland Barbarians would applaud that take by Dave Watson. A cheerio to those people. They've got a competition up there.
So here's the Sharks. With the ball again, and it's long.
Do you think Petey's got a speaking engagement lined up or something, or fishing for one?
Oh, fishing for one.
He sends Cheerios all over the country, doesn't he?
Then he backs it up with a phone call on Monday, and he's up there the following Sunday night getting $1,000.
Here's Chris Ryan inside his own 20 as Watson kicked and chased.
I'm a charity worker, Jacko.
Yeah, who's the charity?
The John Peard Fund.
Charity starts at home.
Retirement fund. Here's Hancock. And now it's Hill galloping. He's got this galloping gait, hasn't he, Terry Hill? He gets off that back leg.
Good work by Andrew Need, the little hooker, to stay with him and come up with the tackle. 6 to go.
Just inside the Cronulla half. Ridge.
What can Clifford do here?
Pops it for Menzies. They're still 40 metres out, Manly, but you sense that it could be the calm before the storm. And Lyons is the one to light it up. Here's Menzies. Grabbed by an ankle and held on by Healy. Now down the blind side, Gillespie tries to go through the line. Back to Moore. O'Donnell, here comes Healy. And out now to Lyons. Lyons dummies inside. Oh, how did he get that away to Cunningham? Cunningham charging for the line. Watson gets him. He bounces to the line. What's the ref's call on this one? He checks with the in-goal judge. Great run by Cunningham, and he's been awarded the try. And that's a reward for his persistence. But Cliff Lyons is the man of the moment once again. Unbelievable pass. The dummy inside, and then the timing of Cunningham. Now, you've got to say Cunningham has put himself in the right spot at the right time. But look at this. It all started with the offload back by Gillespie. Healy tried to cut it off there. O'Donnell keeps it alive. Watch this. Watch and marvel. Two Cronulla players tried to close it down, but they couldn't. And Cunningham bounces for the line. Suspect, I suppose, but the momentum has got him to the line according to the ref.
He won't be denied. What's Cliffy here? Actually, great work by Owen Cunningham. He runs off Cliff Lyons well. He runs straight and hard and into the hole. Watch him hit that hole, and Cliffy can put it in his breadbasket every time. And good on you, OJ Cunningham. He's a Queenslander, Warren, so he must be a good bloke, and he comes up with a great try.
Well, I can't be bothered biting. Manly 36, Cronulla 10. Couple of minutes to go, and Ridge extends the lead. 38 points to 10 now in favour of the Sea Eagles. They've led all the way after the first 10-minute blitz when they scored 3 tries.
Yeah, Gillespie did well. This is part of his game now. He continually unloads, and that was a good one, as Peter said. He really wrestled his way clear, O'Donnell, but Cliffy just had a look on the inside to try and keep the defence waiting, and then OJ knew what he was doing. OJ ran for the hole. OJ Cunningham over for the try. But that's magic when you've got someone that wants to run for holes like that. Even if he was covered, Lyons has still got the option to put the ball behind Cunningham. So all the options are there.
And we want to remind you, ABC TV will be covering all of the finals matches, the Saturday and Sunday semis, the preliminary final, the grand final, all of them. Remember, the Sunday semis as well as the Saturday games, and we'll be putting it to air as an hour of highlights from 6 o'clock till 7 o'clock every night of every finals match. And that's a full 60 minutes of action, no interruptions, no ads on the ABC. And that's right around Australia, wherever you are. Tune in 6 o'clock following every game of the final series on ABC TV. As Manly put it down and turn it over to Cronulla, a last fling for them late in the game. And just continuing the community service announcements, the Toowoomba Rugby League Club asked me to mention their reunion is on August 26th. And I know that we've got some viewers up in West Java today at the Palabawan Ratu Surf Camp, Jacko. They're watching today as well. They get the satellite in there in West Java. I think a mate of yours is a gringo up there or someone.
Gringo? What? Where'd you pull that one from?
We get it all here. Here's Scott Brown probing 10 metres out.
Warren, he's done a couple of good things, the 19 for Cronulla, Scott Brown.
And there it is, a full-time siren sounds, but it's not all over as Watson puts the kick in. Ridge watches it go dead, and that is full-time. A resounding performance all the way from Manly. Pressure on them to remain in the top 3. They've responded to that challenge. They whipped Cronulla in the first half to lead handsomely at half-time, and they've gone on with it sufficiently in the second half. 38-10 to the Sea Eagles. Jacko's judgment.
Well, very tough one today. Stephen Menzies I've given it to. I thought he had a fantastic game. Came up with about 4 or 5 clean line breaks. Came up with a great tackle on Andrew Eddinghausen to save a try. And his form continues to be great. Cliffy Lyons was also outstanding today, as was Matthew Ridge at the back, I thought, and all their forwards worked hard. But Steve Menzies, the standout today, as he has been all season.
A fine team performance from Manly. They scored 6 tries in all, 1 each to O'Donnell, Hancock, Ryan, Ridge, Tuvey and Cunningham. Ridge kicking 7 from 8 for Cronulla. Second half tries to Barnett, 2 of them. Crossan kicking 1 from 2. Tremendous team effort, but Jacko, the individuals really stood out as well.
Yeah, they just blasted them off the paddock in that first 20 minutes. Manly, Cliffy Lyons, Steve Menzies outstanding, as was their whole forward pack. I thought Matthew Ridge at the back was safe and made a few good breaks, scored a try himself. So outstanding performance by Manly in the first half. They laxed a bit off in the second half, and Bob Fulton won't be happy about that. But Cronulla, on the other side of the coin, blasted from the field in the first half, but they showed a bit of courage and a bit of credibility in the second half.